What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are back with day 2 of the NBA, and today we have a massive slate, as you guys can see up on the screen. We got a ton of games to go over. I'm not going to go over each one of these games individually, but I am going to pick 3 or 4 games that I think have a potential to be good targets for player props. We'll talk about those games, get that going. We'll lock in some slips live, and we will go ahead and pick a winner from yesterday's video to win a free month of our VIP. So, that being said, guys, you already know how it goes. If this video gets 250 likes, I'll randomly select a comment from the comments to win a free month of our VIP. It's a $25 value. So if you want a chance at VIP, drop a like on the video, leave a comment down below. You do have to be a subscriber to win, so make sure you guys are subscribed. We're really close to getting close to 37K, which is awesome. I do appreciate every single one of you guys. And let's pick our winner from yesterday. So the winner is going to be for, drum roll, Colin Black, 7244, who said, yo, been watching for a little bit now. Always seem to have some solid free plays. Well, Colin, I really do appreciate it, my man. Send me a message on Discord. I'll get you added for that free month of VIP. And, yeah, once again, I do appreciate the comment from each and every one of you guys. So, taking a look at our free picks from yesterday, we went, 3-1 yesterday. The only one that missed was our man DeAndre Ayton. Now, I want to go ahead and say, Ayton missing his rebounds was one of the only plays I missed yesterday overall. So, here's a play. We've been playing these $50 profit boosts on Underdog. You guys can go ahead and see this. $50 to win 133. I took Curry under points. Now, I hedged Curry. Curry and Ayton were the only 2 props I missed. I hedged Curry over 24.5 and under 29.5. So I was hoping Curry would fall somewhere between 29 and 25 points. Now, that was a risky move on my part. It didn't pay off for me because Curry ended up with 23, so he didn't cash my 24.5, but he did cash the under, which is fine. $50 to win 133. Now, 2 tacos yesterday. For the ones who are new, I can play $100 on tacos because I am VIP status with Prizepicks. That does not mean I'm partnered with Prizepicks. I don't even have a Prizepicks code. What this means is that I can play, or I have played a lot of money on Prizepicks over the last few years, and they have invited me to their VIP program, which allows me to get some bonuses and things like that, and one of them being able to play $100 max on the tacos and discounted lines. So that cashed. Kevin Durant with an AR. The Kuminga and Doncic play cashed. And let's talk about KD for a minute. Before we go any further, let's talk about KD and the BS that was happening in the game yesterday. So, KD had 20 points to end the fourth quarter. We know this game went to double overtime. This game going to double overtime was the only reason I cashed some of my slips. I'm not even going to lie. I had KD over 7 rebounds. This was a second half slip, or a halftime slip that I made, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. Posted it at halftime, and I needed KD to give us 8 boards. He had 7, so that was going to be a hook for me. I had Sengun over 8.5 rebounds, which was a free pick. He ended with 8. They took a rebound from him, so he would have had 9, so he should have cashed anyway, but they stat corrected him to 8 rebounds. He would have hooked us. And then we had KD at 20 points. We needed him for 20.5. He would have hooked us. So if it was not for overtime, we would have missed 3 slips right there, or 2 slips, just because of hooks. So, KD had 20 points going into overtime 1, didn't take a shot. No shots from KD in overtime. Stood around doing nothing, literally. I mean, it was kind of obvious. And then in overtime 2, halfway through, or almost all the way through second overtime, he still hadn't attempted a shot, which is crazy to me because he had 14 points at halftime. So, KD, he was pulling some BS last night, man. I'm not going to lie. He ended up hitting a 3 for us and cashing us out, but it was way too sweaty for double overtime. We also had Durant free square on Underdog, $10 max, wins 22. Had Doncic and Holmgren over on Sleeper. This is the other taco we had, or the free square we had for Curry. I paired it with Fairburn the other day. That ended up cashing yesterday. This SGA, 25-plus points, and Wemby is cash as long as Wemby scores tonight. Wemby should score tonight. There should be another cash. I gave this for free to you guys. Draymond Green directly from the free picks. Sengun directly from the free picks. 250 to win 750. This was for free on YouTube yesterday. If you didn't watch the video, this was cashed. And then we had these as well. I had Holmgren and Sengun cash over on Chalkboard because I had a 10% boost for Holmgren, so I played him. Holmgren feasted last night. And then we had Doncic, Holmgren, and Butler. 50, another profit boost I've been playing, 50 to win 102. So overall, yesterday was a great day. I'm hoping we can continue that going into tonight's slate. If you guys do want to get every one of our plays, and I've already said it's a huge NBA slate, there's probably going to be quite a few plays today. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be probably playing more than I should. So lots of slips going to be posted. You guys can join right now. 20% off with code NBA if you're a first-time user. This actually works for even returning members as long as you haven't used the code yet. You can only use the code once. So if you use it this month or this week, you can't use it for the month or the next month. So just throwing it out there. We do have the Aces Elite VIP, which is also 20% off, which gives you more of a one-on-one mentorship style thing with me. I'm going to be doing my first live stream today at some point. It'll probably be around 11:30 or so. I'll probably get on live for 30 minutes, talking to some of the guys who are in here, and we'll go over bankroll strategies, things like that, and then talk about some plays if they want to talk about some plays. So anyways, we got that going. If you guys want to join the Discord's free. We'd love to have you guys in there. I'll drop a free slip in the Discord at some point. It'll either be this week for a Discord exclusive play, an extra free play that you guys get. But if you want to join our VIP, it is here, $10 a week, $25 a month, and you can get 20% off that. So not very expensive. We'd love to have you guys a part of the community. That being said, let's go ahead and jump in to some of these player props and some of these games for tonight's NBA slate. So the first game I wanted to talk about is definitely going to be the Cavs versus the Knicks, because we're looking at two teams that made it to the playoffs last year that could give us a good opening game. Now, both teams are dealing with some injuries, which we'll talk about here in a second. But first of all, let's talk about where the money's at and how the lines are looking. So right now, the Knicks are plus 108 underdogs at home. The Knicks are plus 1.5 on the spread. The total in this game is sitting at 228, so a decently high scoring total. And then public betting right now has 56% of the money on the Cavs, 51% of the money on the Cavs covering a 2-point spread or 1.5 point spread. And then you got 57% of the money taking the over on this total. So taking a look at these two teams, obviously both teams playoff teams from last year. Cavs with a 76% win rate, one of the best teams in the league last year, definitely in regular season. And then Knicks 61% win rate. Looked good, but they struggled a little bit during certain points of the season. Some of their players have been a little bit inconsistent, a.k.a. Karl Anthony Towns, who I will not be betting on very often, just due to some of the things that he did last season. Head-to-head, these teams played 4 times. The Cavs beat them every single time. So far, the Cavs have had the Knicks number, not going to lie. If you look at the lineups now, DeAndre Hunter is game-time decision. Garland is obviously out. There's no Garland. These are expected lineups. So you can see Garland out, Strus is out, DeAndre Hunter is out. If you come over here and look at the Knicks side of things, they're missing OG Anunoby is going to be game-time decision. Towns is game-time decision. Mitchell Robinson's out. Josh Hart is out. So they're missing a lot of key players, a lot of players that can definitely lead to losses. Or that came out wrong. Anyway, what I was trying to say is a lot of bench players that could obviously help out a lot too. So anyways, looking at this lineup, if it stays the way it is, you could have a good game here, man. You really could. If Towns and Anunoby sit, which I don't think they will, but if they do sit, then this game is definitely going to lean Cleveland, in my opinion. You let all of them play and missing Garland, this lineup's still good, but I can see this being a very close game. It could be a good game for some player props. These are two pretty strong defensive teams, so it's not going to be the best player prop game, but I want to talk about this game mainly just because it was a playoff game last year, or playoff teams last year, and I thought it was a good matchup and something we want to talk about because we had 2 really good games last night. Now, I did call the 2 games to win. I called Golden State to win, then I called OKC to win. It was a little bit sweaty. The totals that I called yesterday were off slightly. The total for OKC definitely would have cashed if it was not for the overtime, but it is what it is. That's how it goes. Overtime helped us and hurt in some ways. I personally didn't bet on the total, so it didn't hurt me in that way, but it hurt me in terms of credibility on the free picks. But that being said, that's kind of how I'm thinking Knicks versus Cavs are going to be. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think it's going to be a decently high-scoring game. I don't know about going over 228.5. Potentially could, but both these teams do play some pretty good D. They don't give up a whole lot of stats, so not sure how I feel about this. I'm kind of leaning the under 228.5. I had to pick a bet on these two just because plus 102 odds right there, man. And then you got 57% of the money on the over, so more money on the over as well. It helps a lot of things for Vegas. I'm just throwing it out there. 228.5. I'd probably lean the under, but that one's it's close in my opinion. If I had to pick a team to win, if both teams play if both teams are healthy, just Garland out, I'm probably going to go Cleveland anyway. If Towns or somebody ends up sitting, then obviously the odds are going to move a lot. So if you think somebody's going to sit, definitely take Cleveland. This one's kind of coin flip. I can see the Knicks winning at home, but I like the Cavs better. I think they're a better team, and that's who I would run with on this one. The next game I want to talk about for player props. Now, obviously we got some decent games. Magic versus Heat. Heat got some injuries. Probably going to be kind of I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but it probably won't be super close. I'm not going to talk about Nets versus Hornets. You got 2 mid teams playing each other. Celtics versus Sixers. No Jason Tatum. This could be a very good one for props. I'm not going to lie. This isn't one of them I was going to talk about, but this is another game to watch out for props. The next one I want to talk about is going to be the Raptors versus the Hawks, and the main reason is because the Raptors lineup looks pretty dang strong this year, and I want to talk about that lineup. So looking at this game, right now Atlanta is minus 200 favorites at home, 5.5 on the spread, and then the total in this game sitting at 236.5. So you got a very, very high total that honestly probably ends up going over. It's a very high total, but two teams that can put up a lot of points, and then the Hawks do not play very much defense. They give up a lot of stats, so got some good juju going our way that way. Looking at the bets, 60% of the money is on the Hawks winning, 70% of the money on Toronto covering the spread, and then 84% of the money on the totals going over. So a lot of money on the total going over, which you guys know how I feel about that. I don't love seeing that, a huge total like that, or a huge percent of the money on over like that, because it makes upsets a lot more fathomable. But anyways, yeah, I can't talk. But anyways, looking at these two teams from last season, you got the Raptors with a 37% win rate, and then the Hawks with a 48% win rate. Two mediocre teams. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about the lineups for these teams. So I did not know till just now that I could pull this up and see the starting lineup. So up here at the top, you can't see it, but in my tabs, I had these two teams pulled up so we can look at them. Let's make sure they're the exact same. You got Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, our boy Zach, Jalen Johnson. I mess his name up so many times, I'm just not going to try to say it. Then we got Porzingis. Porzingis playing at center, which is the new piece to this offense, or to this lineup, that I think suits him and could be really good for the team if Porzingis can stay healthy. Porzingis is not bad. I like Porzingis as a player. He just can't stay healthy, which is a big problem. So we got Porzingis, Johnson, Zach, Daniels, Trae Young. All right, so these are all the same. Looking at the Raptor side of things, Emmanuel Quickley, Barrett, Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Pirtle. This is a good lineup, man. You got to remember, Quickley was out some of the season, a lot of the season last year. R.J. Barrett was out some of it. That they didn't have Ingram for the season. Scotty Barnes did not play that great last season. A lot of games, Scotty Barnes just should have done a lot better. And then they didn't have Pirtle in a lot of games. So this team being healthy, this team looks strong, man. Ingram's a good player. Barrett's a good player. Scotty Barnes a little out there, but he's a pretty good player. Pirtle's a decent center. Quickly can turn up. So they have a lot of playmakers on this team. Now, is this going to be like, I think it could possibly be a playoff team if they stay healthy. And some people might not like that. I think they were plus money yesterday to be a playoff team. It was like plus 109. So pretty strong odds there for them to go into the playoffs. And I think this team staying healthy is a good team, and I think this is going to be a good game. Honestly, looking at this team right now at plus 200 odds in Atlanta, I'm leaning their team. I'm leaning Toronto on this. I think Toronto comes out here and gets a dub if they play well versus this Atlanta team. So I think that's a good spot to get an upset. Plus 200 odds for Toronto. I'm probably going to lock it in. I'm probably putting some money on this, and I'm just going to throw that out there. But looking at the two teams, we already seen who they picked up. Picked up Brandon Ingram pretty much, and then picked up Porzingis. So two good pickups for both teams, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm going to lean Toronto on this one for plus money just because I think this team is strong, and I like this. I like the way this lineup looks, so we're going to lock that in. I'm going to close out these other ESPN things because the lineups were exactly the same on here, and I just figured that out, and that actually helps me a lot. But that's the game I'm talking about. I'm going to run with the Raptors plus 203. The odds there are just too good. Spread is good as well, and then total. I'll probably fade the total at 236.5, but I can see this being a pretty high-scoring game, so I can see it definitely going over. Looking at the next game I want to talk about, it was the Pelicans versus the Grizzlies. I chose this game just due to the total. This is the two teams that don't play very good defense. Now, the Grizzlies stats, you'll see they don't give up a lot of stats, but they do give up a lot of points usually. And then looking at the total, it's sitting at 238.5. Memphis is minus 164 favorites, minus 4.5 favorites on the spread. Public betting has 71% of the money on the Pelicans. They have a 64% on the money on the Pelicans covering the spread, and the total at 238.5. So, I didn't expect that, man. I kind of thought more money would be on Memphis. So looking at Pelicans, 26% win rate last season. They did not look strong last season at all. They suck. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. It is what it is. Looking at the Grizzlies, 56% win rate. The Grizzlies looked pretty decent. The Grizzlies were not that bad. So they did change. Almost said sold. They sold Bane. They traded Bane to the Magic. The Grizzlies picked up Caldwell Pope, so not sure how I feel about that trade. We'll see how it goes in game one. But let's look at these lineups. So you got Jordan Poole, Murphy, Jones, Williamson, and then Messi over here on the Pelican side of things. Zion obviously can ball out. Jordan Poole can ball out. He was playing for the Wizards last season, so they picked up Jordan Poole. Obviously, they traded Brandon Ingram away. They traded C.J. McCollum away, so they're missing a couple players. Ingram was a good player on this team. I'm not sure if he just didn't fit the team's needs, but lineup, I don't know how I feel about the Pelicans. I don't dislike the Pelicans. I've always liked the Pelicans as a team, but in terms of this lineup versus Memphis, so they have Morant, Caldwell Pope, Wells, Jalen Jackson, and then Londale at center. So it's a close game. It's going to be a shootout, in my opinion. I think this is going to be another high-scoring game, a good game for props. I think Zion has a good game. I think you can potentially take Jordan Poole here. Messi, RA, or rebounds is probably a pretty good play. Messi gets quite a few assists. He has some games where he gets 4 to 5 assists, so that right there is one reason I like his RA. I'm looking at Jaren Jackson's obviously always going to be a good play, and then Morant's always going to be a good play. We'll see how the rest of this lineup looks in this game, but usually it's Morant and the Jaren Jackson Jr. show, so Triple J. But anyways, I think that game's a good one to target if you want to play it. My pick to win. Memphis at home versus the Pelicans, man. That's tough. Let me see if I didn't look at injuries. So obviously, DeJounte Murray is out, Looney's out. For Memphis, they're missing Clark, Zach Edey, Jerome, Scottie Pippen, Vince Williams. They're missing a lot of players. Regardless, the only anything I really guess I had to show there. But just want to talk about the injuries first. For picking a winner on this one, that's tough, man. I don't know how I feel about this game. I'll probably fade this game in terms of money line. I probably just won't touch it. That's just my personal opinion. If I had to pick one, I'm probably running with the Grizzlies just because the Pelicans just didn't look that good last year. They struggled to get wins at all, and they didn't play any defense. So don't know that the new lineup's going to be better defensively enough to win games like that. And the Grizzlies didn't look bad. They traded Bane, but that was by choice, man. I mean, they got Caldwell Pope. So maybe they're better, maybe they're worse. We'll see. But I do think the Grizzlies are a good team. I'm kind of leaning for them to win minus 164. I'm not touching the spread on this 4.5 spread. I'm just not going to touch. But at minus 164, it's not super juiced, a little bit juiced, but I'd still take it. Next game I want to talk about, and this is going to be the last one I'll talk about in terms of talking about the actual game. It's going to be the Pistons versus the Bulls. So playing in Chicago. Another game I chose due to the total sitting at 233. Anything over like a 230 total or getting close to a 230 total are usually pretty good at targeting those games. So looking at this, the Bulls are plus 156 underdogs at home, plus 3.5 on the spread, and the total sitting at 233.5. 65% of the money is on the Pistons. 63% of the money on the Pistons covering the spread. And then the total over is kind of dead in the middle, 49% over and 51% money on the under. Looking at these two teams so far, the Pistons had a 52% win rate last season. They honestly looked pretty decent compared to the season before. Pistons actually looked pretty strong. Then the Bulls, a 47% win rate, not looking the best. Head-to-head, these teams played 4 games. The Pistons won 3 of the 4 games. And the only game the Bulls won was 122 to 112 in the opening game of the season. So looking at these two lineups, Pistons pretty much the exact same. You got Cade Cunningham, you got Robinson, you got Thompson, you got Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. They got a pretty good lineup. And then if you look at the Bulls side of things, you got Josh Giddey, Jones, Okoro, Vucevic. Obviously looking at injuries here. Jaden Ivey's out for Detroit, which is pretty big. LeVert's game time decision. Looking at Chicago, missing Zach Collins, missing Kobe White, so missing a couple starters that could make this Bulls team struggle a little bit. So I don't know who they're going to lean on. I mean, I know who they're going to lean on. It's going to be Vucevic and it's going to be Josh Giddey. Those are the two from this game that you're probably going to want to target on the Bulls side of things. On the other side of things, you got a ton of players you can take, man. I mean, anybody could pop off at any time. Cade Cunningham, Thompson could pop off, also Thompson, Jalen Duren, Tobias Harris. Any of those players, Robinson, any of them can have a good game. So, got to kind of watch out on that side of things. I'm leaning in terms of picking players from this game. I'd take either Josh Giddey, Vucevic, or I mean, you can pick your favorite from the Pistons. Either of those probably going to end up having a ball out game. For my pick for the winner of this game, just looking at it at this odds, minus 154 for Detroit. I think the Pistons win. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but taking the Pistons on this one, that's who I'm going to be locking in. So that being said, we are going to jump over to some player props, and we're going to talk about some player props for this, and we'll lock in some slips live. So I do want to say, guys, before we jump into player props, if you want a free month of our VIP, you can sign up to any of our partnered apps. That includes any of them down in the description. There's 7 total apps. There's Parlay Play, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard, Better, Novig, or Dabble. Any of those 7 apps, if you don't have them, you sign up. You make the minimum deposit, which is $10 on most apps. It's $5 on Novig. You sign up for those, make a deposit, send me a screenshot, and I'll give you a free month for each one you sign up for. The one that I'm recommending right now, I like Chalkboard a lot. I'm liking Parlay Play a lot. Both of those are good for player props, especially during the NBA season. Right now, Parlay Play is my favorite, and I'm going to show you why. We got 4 boosts right now. 5 boosts. You got Cooper Flag boosted at 23.5 PRA, which is probably a pretty good play versus the Spurs. You got Giannis over 10.5 boards, which obviously never a bad play for Giannis boards, especially versus the Wizards. Cade Cunningham assists. He's never bad for assists versus Chicago. Good matchup. They're giving us good boosts. Usually these apps will give us boosts against bad matchups. That way it makes it like the chance to chalk is a lot higher, but they're giving us good boosts versus good matchups. Derek White, 3 points made. Obviously, Boston's missing Tatum, so Derek White's probably going to have to step it up. 3.5 threes at a 1.6x. Might be something good you can take. Then you got Donovan Mitchell, who is 23.5 points for 1.45x versus the Knicks, and they're missing Garland, so that's another good play. So lots of boosts right now. Highly recommend you guys sign up for it. Code ACES on Sleeper, code Fantasy ACES on pretty much every other app if you want to sign up. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump in to some player props, and your boy's eye is bothering me, man. It's been like this for 2 days, brothers. Anyways, first pick of the day I want to talk about is going to be Donovan Mitchell. I saw that boost. That boost made me want to take Mitchell. I've been sitting there typing nothing, but taking Mitchell over points. I think Mitchell's going to be the number 1 scorer tonight. I think Mobley could have a good game, but I like Mitchell better than Mobley in terms of this matchup here. I like Mitchell to give us 24.5 points. Anything over 20, up to 24 or 25 points, I like for Mitchell. You can take him to get 27.5. I think he gets a little bit more sweaty there. If you look at him last season, he cashed this line 49% of games. He averaged 24.5 points per game head-to-head. He cashed it all 3 games versus the Knicks. So he averaged 26.3 points versus the Knicks over the course of 3 games. Now, one thing we have to look at this game is they're missing Garland. DeAndre Hunter's game time decision. They're missing Max. So they're missing a lot of players. If you look, without Garland, he's cashed this line 5 of 9 games, and he averaged 25 points per game, which is over what we need here. Now, if you look at the Knicks defense, Knicks have a good points defense overall, last season they had the top 10 defense in terms of points allowed. We can look at them versus the guard position. Versus point guards, they had a bottom 10 defense. They give up 25 points per game to the point guard position on average, which is a good matchup. And then to the shooting guard position, they gave up almost 30 points per game, which is a bottom 10 defense, again, ranked 22nd in the league. So they have not played well versus the guard position. Donovan Mitchell should be able to feast tonight. I think 25 points is going to be good. We're going to pull him up on Props Madness. We're going to click Donovan Mitchell here, and we're just going to see what the shooting chart looks like. So for Mitchell, he has a yellow, orange, and green matchup. So no red here, which is good. He shoots 23% of his shots under the rim versus the bottom 10 defense under the rim. He shoots 17% in the paint, top 5 in the paint. Shoots 11% mid-range, which is the middle of the pack. And then he shoots a whopping 50%, which is 49% from behind the arc, where he's going against the middle of the pack pretty much from corner threes. You're around ranked 7th here and defensively, and then ranked 15th on the other side. And then just 3-pointers in general, around 13th ranked defense. So overall, I think we have a great matchup here for our man Donovan Mitchell to come out here and score points. 25 points, not a lot for him. His peak last season without Garland was 48 points versus the Pacers. Now this is versus the Pacers. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but I do think he gives us 25 points. So Donovan Mitchell is going to be pick number 1. You can get him on Prizepicks. You can get him on Parlay Play. You can get him on should be able to get him on any app. But right now, his original line is 27 points on Prizepicks. You combine to 24.5 points, and if you play this with a regular line, it gives you a 2.5x. So you can pick any regular line with Mitchell. You got a 2.5x, and this one should be a good play. Now, I'm going to take his boost on Parlay Play, what we're going to lock in live. It is 23.5 points, so if you want to play this boost, you can do that. I'm going to be maxing the boost out for $250, and we'll be locking in a slip here in just a memento. But that being said, Mitchell is pick number 1. Like that play a lot, and I'm going to lock him in. Jumping into the second pick of the day that I have is going to be for our man Vucevic. So I'm taking our man Vucevic. Let's talk about Vooch, man. Vooch was a wagon at the beginning of the season last year. Around December, he just fell off and became horrible. You couldn't bet on him because he was doing nothing. And Vucevic tends to do that, man. He gets a little bit lazy sometimes. He just struggles, and I'm hoping he starts out hot this game, missing some of their players. So games without player, Kobe White, Zach Collins, both out. We saw their starting 5 lineup for this team. You're looking at Giddey, Jones, Okoro, I think Brazil is how you say his name, Vucevic. So we're looking at that, and I think Vooch cashes. Now you can get him at 31.5 PRA head to head. He cashed this line 3 of 4 games versus versus the Pistons. So he did end up having good matchups last season, and 2 of these were in February. So this was after he fell off. So he averaged 35 PRA. This is a great line for Vooch, for me personally. And some people aren't going to like that I'm using 2 goblins. I'm just throwing it out there. It's going to give you a double up. I've already checked it unless the payout has changed. But we're going to type in Vucevic. We're going to go to PRA, and we're going to get him at 27.5. 27.5 was a number that he was very consistently cashing last season. So if I can find him on here, if I didn't scroll over this. Did they take his PR? Okay, there it is. So 27.5, this gives you a double up. So you can play this on Prizepicks for 2x if you want to. This is what I'm going to play. We're going to lock in Vooch up here. I think I can get him at 27.5 on parlay play. If not, I'll probably play with a different line. So you can't get him at that. If you play him at 29.5, this is a 2.13x. So payout's better than Prizepicks. You're getting a better line on Mitchell, but you're getting a worse line on Vooch, and Vooch is maybe the one that I'd be worried about the most on this one. What's his points and rebounds at? Points and rebounds, you can get 24.5, which gives a 1.8x. So I'm going to fade Vooch for now. We might come back to Vucevic on parlay play just because they don't have the line that I want. But on parlay play, this is a good slip to me. I like this slip a lot. So that one's there if you guys want to play it. That's probably what I'm going to lock in on Prizepicks. I mean, not parlay play, but on Prizepicks. This is a good slip for a double up, man. I'll put 150 on Prizepicks on here. Not 21,000, but $150 to win 300. It'd be a nice little dub, in my opinion, if you want to play that as a double up. I think it cashes us out. So that's going to be the first slip, first 2 picks of the day. Let's pull Vucevic up over here on this game. So we're going to find the Detroit versus Chicago. We're going to come over here to Vooch. We're going to look at the lineup or the shot chart. So looking at this, he shoots 29% under the rim going against the 4th-ranked defense. He has a pretty tough matchup there. 32% of his shots are mid-range going against the bottom 5 defense, which is a green matchup there. Then he's got 8% against 22nd, and then Vooch shoots some threes, obviously, going against a mid-ranked defense in terms of 3 points allowed. So Vooch got a decent matchup here. I actually like this. Seeing 32% right here looks good to me. I know he shoots the other 29% under the rim, so put these together. You average them out, it's probably going to be yellow. If everything's yellow to me, it's not bad, especially when they're missing some key players. So Vucevic should feast, should have a good game as long as he's not playing bad. And I really just said that. Should have a good game as long as he's not playing bad. No ish. Anyways, if you don't want to play Vucevic and you want to trust Josh Giddey, I like Josh Giddey too. I think Josh Giddey could also be another player you could play. You can play PRA, RA, whatever you want to do for Giddey, points, anything like that. But Giddey would be another one to take. I just decided to go with Vucevic over Giddey personally. That being said, let's jump into pick number 3 of the day. Third pick of the day that I have is going to be for, I'm giving you guys another choice on this one. It's either going to be our man Zion Williamson or we're taking Messi. So I'm going to take Zion. We're going to look at him for the Pelicans, and I like 2 options for the Pelicans. I've already said it, like Messi, and I like Williamson. But we're going to take Zion right now, and we're going to take him at 24 or take him for PRA. Now, Zion's original line is 38.5. You can get him at 34.5. 34.5 is kind of the line I'm leaning for. Especially being opening game of the season. I don't know how many minutes Zion's going to play. Zion's always game time decision. Looking at this lineup, obviously, Zion, Poole, and Messi, Murphy, and Jones. And then we already talked about who they're playing against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies give up a decent amount of stats. If we come over here to the matchup, you can see Grizzlies have the 24th ranked points per game defense. They give up 10th in the league in rebounds, and they give up 17th in assists. If you go to the center position, they don't give up many stats to the center. They give up 19th in points. Everything else is top 10. And if you go to power forward, it's 12th, 7th, and 16th. So a little bit better for power forward. To the small forward position, they give up a ton of points. A ton of rebounds, ton of assists. They do not play well versus the small forward position. I think Zion feasts regardless. 34.5 PRA is not a lot for Zion, and I don't know why I just did that. I was going to show the stats from last season. So last season, he cashed 34.5, 60% of games. He averaged 37 PRA per game. Head-to-head data, is there any? No, there's none for Zion versus the Grizzlies. But obviously, Zion sits a lot of games. He sits like every other game. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same this season. He averages right at 29 minutes per game. If you look at his last 10 games from last season, he ended up playing around 29.5 minutes per game. Some games getting over 30. He gets close to 30 minutes. He should catch his line 34.5 in my opinion. But I will be taking a chance on Zion as pick number 3 of the day. So let's pull up Zion Williamson. PRA. If you want to take his original line, I know people hate when I play Goblins. I play Goblins because I like the Goblins. If you want to take his original line, go for it. If you want to risk it there, you can, but there's a reason I take Goblins. I take the Goblins because obviously they're going to be more consistent. It's 33.5 on here. If you play this with a regular line, what does that give you? 1.9x. So 33.5 PRA, you can get him there on Prizepicks. It was 34 a minute ago. If we pull Zion up right now and we play him at 34.5, it's a 1.44x. I'm gonna play. I guess I'll play this with Mitchell. We'll just lock this in live. So 250 to win us 522. That's locked in, and then we'll lock in another slip here in a minute. I'm just gonna mix them up a little bit. Not exactly the ones I wanted to play, but Zion 33.5 PRA is another good play if you want to play that on Prizepicks. I got it on parlay play for 34.5, as you just saw. Last pick I have for today. Well, we can talk about Messi. We'll talk about Messi first. Pull him up. We're going to look at his rebounds and assists. It's at 10.5. He cashed this line 38% of the game. Now, you got to look at his minutes. So, minutes are all over the place. If he's playing 25-plus minutes, and obviously they're missing Murray, they're missing Looney, put him at 25 minutes. If he plays 25 minutes, he cashed it 44% of times. I think they're going to need him, man. Head-to-head data versus the Grizzlies. He went under 3 or 4 games. This is one of those gut-feeling plays. You ain't got to take it if you don't want to. I think he cashes it, man. Something tells me he gets 11. I took Zion over him for a reason because I liked Zion better, obviously. Memphis, we already saw versus the center position. They don't give up many stats. He struggled last season, but his minutes were around 29 minutes per game every game versus the Grizzlies, so he did play a lot. I'm hoping that maybe the offseason was good to him, and he came out here and he's going to have a good game. But that's up to you guys what you want to take on this one. I think he has a good game personally. It's more of a gut feeling than anything, so you guys can fade it if you want. But 10.5 is going to be a regular payout if you want to play it. Let's pull Zion up real quick before we jump into the next one for shot chart. So Zion versus Memphis. So looking at Zion, he's got a yellow matchup everywhere. It doesn't matter. I mean, the defense is kind of all over the place. You got a full yellow matchup. 6 of the last 8 power forwards cashed versus the Grizzlies are similar players. They got Butler, Tatum, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Durant. So lots of players have had success versus the Grizzlies from last season, obviously. So we got to talk about that as well. But anyways, let's jump into the final play of the day. The final play of the day that I have is going to be for our man Bam. So I like Bam. Going to take Bam over PRA as well. I like these PRA props just because you can have a really good point game and a mid-rebound game and still cash if you get a lot of assists. Like PRA is just more versatile in my opinion. You can get him at 31.5, I believe, on parlay play. Let's pull Bam up. Pretty sure 31.5 is the original line here. Yeah, 1.8x for 31.5. So don't touch 32.5. Let's see. Bam. It's PRA, so it is 31.5. This gives you a 2.25x. You can buy them to 29.5. I like the 29.5 as well if you want to play that. It's obviously going to be a better payout, or not a worse payout, but a better hit rate. And you can get these two together for another double up. This is another slip that I like. Zion for 34 and Bam for 29.5. So that is there if you want to play it. Bam at 32.5, or we're not even going to touch 32.5. We'll look at 31.5. Last season, he cashed 31.5, 51% of the games. He averaged 32 PRA on the season. If you go to 29.5, he cashed it in 61% of the games. Obviously, still averages 32 on the season. They are playing against the Magic in Orlando. This is going to be a tough game. For sure. The Magic do not give up a lot of stats. You can look at this: first ranked points allowed, first in assists allowed, and then third in rebounds per allowed. If you go to center position, it goes up slightly, but it's still top 10. Power forward, still top 10. Small forward, top 10. Shooting guard, they give up more rebounds, but everything else is top 10. Point guard, they give up 11th in points, but everything else is still top 10. Like they don't give up a lot of stats. So this is tough. One thing you got to look at is they're missing Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is huge for this team in terms of stats. Like, somebody's got to step it up. And if you look at this lineup, they have Davion Mitchell, Powell, Wiggins, Bam, and then Ware, who is also a game time decision. So we got to look at this. I think Bam does well versus this team, and I'm going to be locking him in. So Bam at 29.5 PRA is a good play in my opinion. Head-to-head, he cashed it 2 of 4 games last season. His last game versus the Magic, he had 45 PRA. And some of these other games, or game 1, for example, they got killed. It was a blowout. He only played 25 minutes. Played 34 of the other 2. Cashed in 1 game. Obviously cashed and missed in the other. But I like Bam in this matchup, 31.5 or 29.5. You can pick what you want. For me, I'll probably take 29.5 on parlay play and Prizepicks and just play it with a promo. For example, if we took Cooper Flag, that would give us a 2.3x. But I'm not going to play these with a promo, I don't think. I'm actually going to try to get a Vucevic play just because I played him on the free picks. So let's see what we can do with Vooch. So 29.5's there, obviously. 24.5 points and rebounds gives me a 1.94x. I'm going to take this. Vooch gets quite a few assists. I'm not going to take the 29.5 just because the free pick was 27.5 for Vooch, and I think this 24.5 points and rebounds is just as good. So if you want to tell the exact slip, it's not going to be quite a double up. I'm going to do this because I like it. I don't care if I make $15 less on my double up, like it's $485 instead of $500. Why do I care about that? I don't. But anyways, like if there's two, if I have the option to choose between the two, obviously I'm going to take the one that pays more. But this is still double up overall on these two slips. 500 wins me 1,000. I can profit $500 on these two slips, which is a great day. Vucevic and Bam on one play. Williamson and Mitchell on the other play. If we hit refresh just to show the slips are legit, we're locked in live on video. There's no scamming here. We lock in the slips that we say we like. We play the plays that we say we like. We don't give plays out and then not play them, and you guys miss, and that'd be the only ones who miss. That being said, the last thing we want to do is come over here and look at Bam versus Orlando on this sheet, and everything's probably going to be red, to be honest with you, but we'll see. So Bam, you got orange and yellow. It's not a great matchup. 32% of his shots in the rim, 33% in the paint, 14% mid-range. Then you got a total of 21% from behind the arc. So orange matchups, tough matchups for Bam. I think he balls out, though. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's one that should get a lot of looks tonight. And I like to play a lot, so Bam is going to be the final play. And that's what I got for today, guys. Lock them in if you like them. Fade them if you don't. Yes, all these plays. Now, let's talk about, before we jump into anything, I want to talk about these goblins because I get a lot of comments sometimes about goblin. Anybody can pick a goblin. You got to understand, these are not big goblin plays. I'm not taking the bottom goblin and taking Bam to 22.5 or 24.5 right here where the payouts are 1.5x. It's not like I'm doing that. Like this, it's a 2-point difference. 31.5 versus 29.5. Why do I do that? Because these Vegas lines, Prizepicks lines, whatever you want to call them, are so freaking sharp. You know why you get hooked so many times? Because the lines are so sharp. They have it almost down to a T. Opening season, they kind of struggle a little bit more, but the longer the season goes, they get it down to a T to where they can have you either cash by one or chalk by one, unless the team players has a pop-off game. So, yes, buying it down by a couple is what I like to do just because if he ends on 30, I cash, where he would have hooked everybody else. Why would I not want to cash? I don't give a dang if I lose $25 more on my win because I played a goblin. Like that means nothing to me. I'm going for dubs. I'm not going to make it look pretty. I mean, let's just be honest here. So, yes, I am going to have some goblins. You're going to see more goblins if I like the lines. I'll play regular lines like you saw yesterday. We played Sengun regular line for rebounds. We played Ayton for rebounds. We almost played a regular line for KD points. Like, it was barely bought down. So, lots of things are going to happen. There's going to be days that I like different plays. Today, I like these goblin plays because they give me double ups, and I like the value we're getting. So that's why I like them in. But that's what I got for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys leave a like. I do appreciate the love and support from every single one of you. Join our Discord if you're not in there already. The Discord is free to join. If you want to get all the plays, you know where to go. WAP links down in the description. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.